I'm Mallory.
And I'm Laura.
And we're out here on the beautiful Meridian campus again, here to talk to you about what's been going on. So Laura, you were just telling me a story about your friend, and I think we should tell them and kind of talk about that situation, because I think it could be really helpful for other people.
Okay, sure. Yeah, so I got a phone call the other day. Mallory and I were talking about this earlier. I got a phone call the other day from a good friend of mine who has a teenage daughter. And teenagers, school-aged kids, they're sort of going through their own unique, unprecedented experience, just like the rest of us. And overall, this girl is doing very well with it. She's adapted to the new schooling format. She's been keeping in touch with her friends. Like, she's been doing okay. She's had her moments, kind of like all of us, right? Mm-hmm. But overall, no major like red flags that there was a problem or anything like that. Until the other night. So they're at home and they're watching a movie together as a family, and then sort of out of nowhere, her daughter stood up and was shaking and was sweating and was breathing heavy and was kind of going like this and just talking really fast, really just panicking. And it lasted like 8 or 10 minutes or so. Nobody really knew what to do. And it really sort of freaked everybody out. So more and more, as she was telling me the story, now when she called me, it was the next day. They weren't in a crisis anymore, but she was still understandably very concerned about what had occurred the night before. So more and more as she was talking, it seemed to me like what she was describing was an anxiety attack. And so we talked a little bit about that. What are your thoughts kind of on that?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it does sound like an anxiety or panic attack. And a lot of times, people don't know what to do. If you've never experienced a panic attack before, or if you've never been around someone who's experienced it, it can be really scary, and you can tell that the person is scared too, so we don't always know what to do. But what happens sometimes is our body is under a lot of stress, whether it's a combination of stress, anxiety, changes, like what's going on right now. I mean, a lot of changes. Sometimes our body gets so stressed out that it goes into a stress response. We have also heard it as like fight or flight response, and it can, turn into a panic attack. It's the body's way of trying to fight that stress. And some of those things that you talked about, shortness of breath or feeling like you're choking, chills, hot flashes, chest pain, kind of talking fast or feeling like you're dying, all of those are symptoms of a panic attack. So some things that you can do to help someone who might be showing some of those symptoms are to, you be the calm person in the situation, reassure them that the symptoms aren't life-threatening.
Because they feel that way.
Because they feel that way, right? So even saying things like, hey, it's okay, I'm here for you, I'm with you, let's go sit down, breathe with me, distract them in a way, or have them do a task where they're not thinking about, the physical symptoms that they're experiencing. And typically panic attacks do only last between 10 and 20 minutes or so. So, taking them somewhere that's open so that they can breathe and kind of calm down and sit and relax is some of the best things you can do in that situation.
Now, what about like touching someone, particularly like, her maternal instincts were to hug her and to reach out and, hold her hand, and she admitted to me that did not seem to help at all. Like, there was a lot of resistance to that.
Yeah. So with panic attacks in particular, a lot of times there's this sensation that things are closing in and, not being able to breathe and not having space. So really kind of the last thing you want to do is smother someone or hug someone, even though the intentions might be good. I would say give that person space, all the space that you can. Okay. And, if everyone's different, so if you wanted to ask, like, hey, do you want to hold my hand, or do you want me to sit closer to you? Asking is not a bad idea at all.
Okay, so it's not like it's generally harmful. Like, if the person were to reach out and want to grab your hand, then that's what they need. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I have another question though, as I'm listening to you talk, right? So this is a very healthy teenage girl with her mom, who can sort of, reasonably assess whether this is a medical crisis, emotional crisis, but some of the things you're describing, like if my husband, who's a middle-aged man, was having these symptoms, I would think immediately that there was like a cardiac issue, like he was having a heart attack. So what, like, where's that line? How do you tell? What do you do?
That's a really good point. Symptoms of a panic attack often mimic the symptoms of a heart attack. So if a person if they've never experienced a panic attack or a heart attack before, I would say, go to the emergency room just in case, because if it is a heart attack, you don't want to risk it. If there's any doubt, get professional emergency help.
Yeah, because I mean, if you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
So I guess then, are panic attacks typically isolated incidents, or do they keep happening? Because I've heard like you can have an anxiety disorder without a panic attack, and you can also have panic attacks without really having an anxiety disorder. So what's the expectation? Like, should she expect to have these again? At what point do you get help? At what point is this like an issue?
Yeah. So it completely depends. There can certainly be isolated panic attacks where maybe you only experience one and then you never experience it again. But I would always say, if you are starting to experience like regular panic attacks, and those panic attacks or the fear of the panic attacks are really inhibiting your ability to kind of do your daily functionings and live your daily lives, I would say definitely that's the time that you want to get help. And by help, I mean any mental health or counseling services. So Meridian would be a great place to reach out to first. And our services are continuing to be active. So you can call us if you are experiencing those, or if anybody else are experiencing those like reoccurring panic attacks. We're open for business. We're on your side. Our phone number is 352-374-5600. You can call us if you feel like you need help.
That's awesome. That's super good advice, Mallory. Thanks for talking me through that. I hope that's helpful to somebody out there who might be experiencing this kind of for the first time. So I hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you again next week.
Yeah. Bye.